Hello, friends. So, today we will start chapter 7 Motion, Force, and Work. Okay, so basically, these three terms motion, force, and work they are actually closely related to each other. As you will see, we will discuss. So, let's come to the point. Okay, Ranjit's house is at place A. Okay, the figure alongside shows the distance traversed by Ranjit to reach his school at D. Okay. If we do not take the direction into account, we find that Ranjit traversed a distance equals to AB plus BC plus CD. Fine. However, on doing that, this his displacement was equals to AD. Ranjit's displacement from his house to his home is shown in the figure with broken line AD. In this case, dark blue line. AD is the minimum distance along a straight line from Ranjit's house. Okay. The minimum distance traversed in a particular direction along the straight line is called displacement. Okay, so let's look into the box. Distance, the length of the route actually traversed by a moving body, irrespective of direction, is called distance. Okay, let me give you an example on triangle. Suppose this is 5, this is 3, this is 4. Okay, now a person goes from this point to this point using this path. Okay, so the person is said to have covered the distance 9 units. Okay, however, the displacement, which is the minimum distance between the 2 points, is 3. Okay, in case of cases when there is straight line, actually distance and displacement their magnitudes are equal. Okay, so as you see, distance, the length of the route traversed by a moving body irrespective of the direction is called distance, which is scalar, and displacement, the minimum distance, mind it, which is often a straight line, traversed by a moving body in one direction from original point to reach the final point is called displacement. So, one thing is displacement is a vector quantity. So, to calculate displacement, both distance and direction are taken into account. I'll redraw the figure. As I redraw this figure, 3, 4, 5, the displacement would be 3 units to the left. Okay. And so what is velocity? Velocity is the distance traversed by a body in a specific direction in unit time. Okay, basically displacement divided by time, and that is given by the formula. So coming back to the heading, I am going to this speed and velocity. When we say that speed of a car is 40 km per hour, there is no need to specify the direction. But to predict whether a storm will reach a particular place or not, a mention of its direction is essential. So basically what is it is that, for example, you are not concerned about the distance. For example, you are not concerned about direction, sorry. That in any case you have, for example, I am traveling from point X to point Y. So I need to travel at point this to reach this. Okay, I have to travel speed at this. But if I need to know the velocity, then I have to travel at velocity y towards the position y. So when you're defining a velocity, it should be To where? In which direction is it going? Okay, I think the y example might have confused you. So points are A and B. So if I go from point A to point B, or from point B to point A, speed is same, product time is same naturally. But in case of velocity, the magnitudes are same, but the direction are different. If I am going from A to B, then I will say I go from point A. Okay, let me draw it. This is A, this is B. So when I go from A to B, I say I move to point A to B with a velocity of say x meter per second towards B. And when I go from B to A, I say I go at the velocity of x meter per second towards A. So basically when you're using velocity, specify where is the velocity direction. I hope it should be clear by now. Then as you will see, now in the task both speed and velocity will have same unit. So now a bit of calculations. Now in this case speed and velocity are two different quantities. Okay, so let me go back to that place. So to calculate the distance was AB plus BC plus CA. The value is 500 plus 700 plus 300. Okay, so that gives, as shown, 1500 meters. And the time is also given as 8, 11 and 6. So you divide 8, 11, 6, 25. So you divide the two. The speed is given by 1500 meters upon 25 minutes, which is 1 meter per second. Now to determine velocity, the distance AD is 1000 meters and assuming time is same. So the time is 1000 meter by 25 meter is 0.66 meters per second. So you are seeing ideally it should have a velocity as well, a direction component as well towards D. Velocity is 0.66 meter per second towards D, basically specifying the direction as well. Okay, so I'm reading this point now. Okay, this. Ranjit did not take the straight route of minimum distance while going to the school. Therefore, the magnitudes of his velocity and speed come out to be different. Basically, the distance is different, time is same. Hence, the magnitude of velocity and speed are different. Had Ranjit gone by the straight route AD, the magnitude of his velocity and speed would have been same. Okay. Next comes average velocity and instantaneous velocity. Okay, so average is like for a long period of time, if you move at different speed the average velocity concept will be clear as I explain this truck concept. For example, whenever you go to a trip, it's not like always you are going at particular speed. Okay, you sometimes stop to eat, you sometimes move faster, you sometimes move slower. So when the velocity you determine, that should be average, but that won't be the constant every time. So okay, let's see an example for moving vehicle. Okay, suppose that truck A is covering a distance of 40 kilometers from A to D. Okay, this particular is 40 kilometer. Forgive my bad writing. That is, the displacement will be 40 kilometer. Here it's distance as well because it's a straight line. There are no curves so far. If it requires 1 hour for this, then the average speed is 40 kilometers per hour. Okay, assuming that you don't have this different speeds at different point of time. Basically, you have a distance of 40 kilometer and 1 hour. So velocity is equal to distance upon time, which is 40 kilometer per hour towards d. Okay. Now coming back to point. Now here it's a case when the velocity is different at different point of time. The velocity at AB, BC and CD are different. Okay. So but the entire velocity is 40 kilometer per hour. So what is instantaneous velocity? It is the velocity at a particular moment of time is instantaneous velocity. For example, the instantaneous velocity here is different, here is different, here is different, but average is 40 km per hour. So now acceleration. Now velocity was defined as the rate of change of distance. Basically with time variation, what distance is being covered. Okay, so acceleration is the rate of change of velocity. How the velocity changes with respect to time. Okay. Now in the previous example, the truck covered distance AB at 60 km per hour, BC at 30 km per hour and CD at 40 km per hour. Okay. It means the velocity for distance CD is greater than velocity of distance BC. Naturally, because 40 is greater than 30. So if the number of seconds is given, the change in velocity is deduced. As they say, this is called acceleration. Basically what change in velocity takes for a unit of time. Okay, you know that truck driver might increase or decrease the velocity of the truck by the mean of accelerator. Okay, so for example, imagine a car or a cow comes, so he has to stop it, or the road is empty, he may rush it. There is no such condition that his velocity may be varying. And similarly you can see many example of velocity. But one thing exception is when the direction changes, velocity changes, the velocity of ball changes. That is, acceleration takes place. It's not necessary that change only in velocity magnitude has to occur. A change in the direction of velocity, even though magnitude is constant, gives rise to acceleration. Now I'm reading this line. The interaction that brings about the acceleration is called force. Force acts on the body. Okay. Now we come to force and acceleration. Okay. So basically it is, you take a marble top, you place you take a tabletop and you place two marble on it. So and you give it a push. After rolling, it stops. On a carom board too, when you strike the striker, it goes for some time, so then it stopped. And if you apply talcum powder, the time required to stop increases. So what we infer? So the velocity of coin decreases due to the force of friction and the coin stops. Basically, if the friction is reduced, it will move for a longer period of time. Okay. And if friction is not there and the force is acting continuously, then it will move on continuously with constant velocity. That is, the velocity won't change ever. So let's come to Newton's first law of motion. This is actually really true. If no force is acting on a body, its velocity does not change. That is, the body does not accelerate. Consider a table. The table stays like this for how much time we want it to. The table won't move until I push it. That is, I'm applying force. By pushing it or by pulling it, I'm applying a force. So unless I apply a force, table won't move automatically. That is with respect to Newton's first law of motion. Okay. If no force is acting, the velocity does not change. In other words, as it's clearly written, if the body is stationary, it remains stationary. If it is in motion, it will continue to move with the same velocity and in the same direction, provided that there is no friction. Okay. Now, you know what is bend back force. We have seen a body the above example was a body accelerated by a force, like the striker. If you place a 1 kg body moving at an acceleration of 1 meter per second square, basically for every 1 second the velocity changes by 1 meter per second, increases, then this is called 1 Newton. Okay, this is 1 and not Roman I. Now try this. Basically what to do is take a smooth wooden table and keep a weight of 1 kg, spread some talcum powder and pull with some acceleration, and then double the acceleration. It means force is double. Basically the result of this experiment is force is measured by the acceleration it produces, because generally mass of a body is known to us. Okay, so we have learned about what is the relation between displacement, force and work done. So now let's come to work energy relationships. The ability to do work is called energy. So basically work and energy have kind of similar definitions. Okay, so let's take this experiment. Here is a weight on it, okay, and here is a block. Here is a block, it is tied to a weight via a pulley. Okay, so what force when you try to move? Okay, so what force is being applied here? Naturally it's a gravitational force which tends to move this weight down. Okay, what will happen by applying more force? It will move faster. What can we say? That work is done by applied force. Now, if the block moves forwards, we can say it has been displaced. Exactly, because there are two different positions. Due to this displacement, we say that the force has done some work. Naturally, because if I'm pulling it, there has been some acceleration. Acceleration produces change in velocity. Velocity produces change in displacement. Can we measure this work? Okay, let's see. Work is equals to force applied to the body into the displacement it produces. Okay, so the unit of force is Newton, the unit of displacement is meter, the unit of work is Newton meter. In CGS it is ERG. And again with the traditional definition, if the application of 1 Newton of force creates a displacement of 1 meter, then 1 Newton meter work is said to have done. Newton meter is also called joule. 1 joule of work is said to have done. Okay, thank you.